my kupuna had, at that time that we're talking about, had just passed. She was 97 years old. She'd struggled her entire life. She lived in Lahaina, which at one point in time was the capital of Hawaii. So it was a whaling port. And so there was a very big population of Christian missionaries. And she struggled. You know, she
How did she struggle?
She struggled with Christianity. If she went to church, she was forced that. You know, the missionaries beat their God into them and forced them to go to church and speak their language in schools. So she was forced to go to church, and when she was at church, she was not, you know, if she spoke her language, she was too Hawaiian, and that's not Christian enough. And then when she was at home with her peers in her community, and she spoke about God, because she ended up loving God and was excited about learning these things. And when she would share with her peers in school, she wasn't Hawaiian enough. Or too white. And so she struggled her entire life. I watched it. She never said or grumbled. Our grandparents are built way differently than we are, and she's my great-grandmother.
Right.
She never grumbled about it, but I felt that struggle. And so when she visited me after she passed away, I was drying a kihe on the ground, a garment, a formal garment. The print on it that was drying was in honor of her, because she had just passed. When I woke up in the morning, there was a very huge centipede laying on that print that honored her. And Hawaiians, culturally, centipedes are a sign of jealousy. So it's not a good sign.
Right.
Or so we were led to believe. So I took it outside like I was taught, and I cut it. I took it outside. You don't want to get bit by those things if you're unfamiliar with centipedes. So I took it outside, and I burnt it. And I did what I was taught. If it was jealousy, you send it back.
Got it.
And so this fire got fairly huge as compared to the centipede, and it didn't burn. And I stayed out there for a while. And when I went inside, why wasn't this thing burning? That's fire. So I processed, and I went into a quiet place to listen to whatever message that was. And the message was, she was now in heaven. She was very strong in her Christian faith. She was in heaven, and her whole life struggle was very unnecessary, because now, in her life and her belief, she was with God. And he did not tell her she was too Hawaiian. In fact, the message that I got was, it's the same thing. It's one and the same. You can be a Christian, and a Hawaiian Christian at that, and you're not going to be punished for what language you speak or your culture or the color of your skin. It is the same thing, and that was the message that she had sent to me. So she gave me the gift of not having to carry that burden of struggle, because you struggle with it as a Native person. You know, how can we not respect our gods like Pele or Kanaloa, and then, you know, the Christian people are telling us, you can't do that, that's against. So she took that away from me in one message, and I got it, and I thanked her for it, and here we are, you know?
That is so powerful to me, because it parallels the experiences that many cultures have all over the world, who have had someone come in and dictate to them the way that they should believe or why they should be a certain way. And your grandmother just kind of came, you said it was your great-grandmother, is that correct?
Yeah.
Your great-grandmother came in, and in one fell swoop through this not burning centipede, she tells you that this is a man-given dictate, that here, where she's resting, she is loved and accepted for being Hawaiian, for being Christian, for being herself.
Yes, she did.
And that's a message, guys. If you're listening, that's a message to take home and take to heart. We put a lot of restrictions on ourselves. We sometimes allow doctrines to put restrictions on us. But what God, peace, universe is about is acceptance. I really believe that's what it boils down to. If there's one word, it's acceptance. You are okay as you are. You don't have to fit into anybody else's box to be accepted. And so,
absolutely, yeah. And that was, I could have gone my whole life if I didn't pay attention and not realize that. So I am still grateful that she gave me that gift, because it is acceptance.
It's acceptance. And as we're speaking about acceptance, you are on this beautiful island. It's an incredibly touristy island. Tons of people are coming to visit you. And how do you feel about that? I find like you're in this new position where they're coming in, they're taking up residence, and they're kind of transforming this island via gentrification from what I've been reading. How does that feel to you? How do you work on your acceptance? It's so funny how God gives us an opportunity to work on the thing we need. Like you say, I want to learn how to love. And then you get someone that's difficult and you have to figure out how to love. So acceptance was a lesson your grandmother's teaching you. And now there's all these different people there. How do you adjust?
We adjust. You do what you need to do. And acceptance is, it's, when you got to be careful what you pray for,
Yes.
like you said, right?
Yeah.
So, it sometimes feels very invasive, and there is some, just anger sometimes. Like, why? I just think when I meet people that are transplants here, you move here because you love this place. And you move here because something called you to this place. Usually. Sometimes you're forced here, but Hawaii's not a bad place to be forced to be. But when you come here, it's changing. And change is hard, because as humans, we're creatures of habit. So it's hard, but you pray through it. You know how I deal with it sometimes, and it's okay. I close my gate. I close my gate. It's a simple solution. I come home and I close my gate and I stay quiet, and I work on my home and my children and my family. And that's how I deal with it. Acceptance, because when people come in, they bring their habits, the good, the bad,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's a challenging one, because you gotta, even if I can close my gate all the time, I do have to go to the grocery store and see this and intermingle, and nobody wants to. I always tell my kids, please do not make me end up on the internet, and so what I do is I just repeat stuff to myself, and it may not make sense to everybody, but it works for me. And if I cannot be kind, then I will be quiet. Now, this took some time, because I am very vocal and I'm very outgoing and outspoken. So if I cannot be kind, I will be quiet. And people who knew me from my youth are very surprised I'm not real quiet still, but as compared. So yeah, if you cannot be kind, you be quiet, and you learn that what made that person like that. Because a lot of times there's no malice in it. It's ignorant. And there's a difference.
Yes. Yeah. It reminds me of a quote from a favorite artist of mine. And he said, they're trying to sometimes build a brand new city without us, and the tourists come down and bring so many dollars, but no matter what they do, it will still be ours. And I feel like you have a real sense that the island belongs to the people, and the people belong to the island. And whoever comes in, wonderful, but it's about doing it with respect and being humble when you come in. And right. Respecting the culture that's already existing to the place that you deem paradise. It's that way for a reason, because it's been established by the indigenous people there. And I think that's something that we can all learn, no matter what culture we're from, is to be respectful and humble when we go into different places, Yeah.
It's easier said than done, because when you look at Americans, and I am an American, when we look at us, well, if we're humble and quiet as a people, you know what I mean?
That's not what we do well.
No, we don't do that well, but practice makes perfect.
Amen.
So if you be conscious of it, and you completely repeat stuff like that, like if I cannot be kind, I should just be quiet. you know, it does work wonders. You know, I just seen something that made me go, oh. It said, quiet is a superpower, and it is.
Quiet is a superpower. That should be the name of the show. What is your superpower? Be quiet. That would help us all so many ways at different times. And one of the other things too, I want to just kind of segue back into where you are, the beauty of that. I know that part of your culture is to be respectful of your elders, and we've talked about that. Maybe to be quiet if you can't be kind. I love that. But there's also this deep, deep ingrained respect for the land. And one of the greatest resources in the world is within eyesight of your home, which is the always growing and active Mount Kilauea. And then Mauna Kea, the tallest mountain, is on your island as well. Can you tell listeners about what Mauna Kea is? I might not be saying it right for those who do not know, and then explain how Mount Kilauea is playing such an important part in your life right now.
So we do live on a very special island. Mauna Kea is loosely translated into White Mountain because it snows up there. So on this island, you get snow, and then you can go snowboarding, and then 10 minutes, not 10 minutes later, but, an hour later, you're down at the beach. So what Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain from sea level to summit. It's the tallest mountain in the world. Now, I'll just say briefly, because of our time, Hawaiians have 3 picos on our bodies.
Okay.
Our fontanelle at the top of our head is our spiritual connection. That's our pico po'o. Our pico is, our second pico is our connection with, that's our navel, our belly button. That pico is our connection to our mothers and their mothers, so to our past and our kupuna. Our third pico is the genitalia, and that is our pico, and it's sacred because that's going to continue our race and continue your generations, and that's why that's important. So if we look at the earth as a living being, or like a living, breathing thing, Mauna Kea, being the tallest mountain from sea level to summit, is the fontanelle of the planet. It is the spiritual connection to that. And I know indigenous people don't have to know Mauna Kea, but they know something special is about that mountain. It's that energy that, causes that mountain to be so special. And people just know this. It is also a Vauakua. So according to, Hawaiian culture, it is a place where the gods dwell. So it's not a place that we go and we call it Maha'oi, we're going to be nosy. But what's happening on that mountain is there is a 30-meter telescope, billions of dollars being spent. We want to build this monstrosity of a telescope on that mountain. The Hawaiians, not all, but a lot of them are resisting that and saying, no, we have telescopes up there because Hawaiians are for education. We are for exploring. We are for science. But at what cost? So I think at this point, Hawaiians are saying you have telescopes up there. Some of them are not in use. Use that. It doesn't need to be this big. And of course, you can go and read about it, and there's a lot of information about that. But that's been taking place for the last 2 years. And the Hawaiians are rising up and saying, no, that's enough already. You guys told us this many times because there are several telescopes up there already. And that's enough. Just make do with what you have. Hawaiians are the best navigators, and we never use a telescope. We sailed the Pacific, and so we're not against the telescopes, but at some point you say, well, at what cost?
At what cost? I want to even just stop you right there for a moment, because this is going on in the collective consciousness right now. The whole idea of environmental warming, and is this a hoax? Is it real? And that question you just asked, Ihilani, at what cost, is the thing that we all should be thinking about. What is the cost for us to not just have exploration, sure, explore, figure out new frontiers, delve into